Hi there, Chevy owners. Today in your 2012 Chevy Silverado, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install Roadmaster's base plate. Now, when you flat tow your vehicle, there are 5 main components that you're going to need when doing so. You'll need your base plate, which is the connection point for your tow bar on your vehicle. You'll need your tow bar, which is the component that connects your vehicle to your motorhome. Your safety cables, which is a supplemental connection in addition to your tow bar. You'll need your diode wiring, which takes all the lighting signals from your motorhome and transfers it to the lights at the back of your vehicle so people know your intentions when going down the road. And your supplemental braking system, which will apply the brakes in your vehicle when you hit them in your motorhome to help you come to a safe stop. And this is what our base plate looks like when it's installed. The arms here for your base plate, where you'll attach your tow bar to, will go right where your tow hooks used to be on your vehicle. They just kind of pass right on through. There is some minor trimming that had to be performed in order for it to fit, but for the most part, you maintain a fairly good factory look across the front. And the base plate, in my opinion, kind of gives it an aggressive look, like you're doing something extra special with this truck. The pins located here on your base plate are for attaching the removable arms that they come with. We'll go ahead and slide the pin out, and we'll go ahead and insert our arm here. So here we can see the arm. This is actually where your tow bar will attach to, is to this component here. They make it removable, so that way when you're not flat towing, you minimize how far your base plate sticks out in the front, and that's really nice. When you go to park this in your garage, if you've got these arms inserted in here, you can see it sticks out. You get out of your truck and you walk across the front and you hit your shin on there, and you're having a bad afternoon now. So it's cool that you can remove that, so that way you can minimize that distance, and then you don't have to worry about bumping your shin on it when you're just using your truck for just your daily use. But when you are ready to flat tow, you can then grab the arm here and insert it, line up the lock tabs there, and you can insert your pin to secure it in place. The locking tab here allows you to put a padlock on it if you wanted to lock it in place. It's a good idea before you head on a long adventure, so that way nobody can walk off with your arms or anything like that. If we look on the underside of our base plate here, the tab that's sticking out here on the bottom is our attachment for our safety cables. And the attachment is fairly small, so there's a good chance that you're going to need some D-links in order to be able to hook up your safety cables. You can see here that the cables we cannot hook directly to the base plate because it barely hooks in there. It doesn't actually clip all the way. This isn't something I would consider safe because of that. So we're going to get some D-links to upgrade that to be able to hook these. So just keep that in mind. A lot of your hooks are going to be larger like this that aren't going to really work properly. If you've got S-style hooks, Kurt, I know, makes some that you can get here at etrailer. Those ones should fit directly in there, but a majority of the ones from like Blue Ox and Roadmaster and the other manufacturers are going to require that quick link to be able to make your connection there. All right, so we went ahead and grabbed a set of quick links from Roadmaster, and we went ahead and just slid it through there and put it on, and that should adapt it to allow you to hook up just about any kind of safety cable. And you can see right there that we've got no problem. These cables here are actually from Roadmaster. They come with the Nighthawk tow bar that we're using with our setup today. Now, when you're ready to hook up your tow bar to your base plate, we're going to go ahead and take our tow bar out of our storage position here by lifting it up, pushing back on the release lever there, and then we can drop it down. Also pulled back on those to let my arms drop back down in. That'll just make it a little easier for us to make our connection here. We can then spread these apart and line it up with our base plate. After we line up our arm here with our hole, I'm going to put the head of the bolted top just because I think it looks a little nicer that way. We'll slide our pins from the outside towards the inside, and then drop the lock down on the other side to hold it in place. We'll then just repeat that over here on this side to get this arm attached. Next, we'll hook up our safety cables. So we'll hook them onto our quick links here. Do that on each side over here. Make sure that you got your quick links all tightened down. And then over on the other side on your motorhome, make sure you attach those as well. And you want to cross them on your motorhome side here. So we're taking the passenger side cable and attaching it to the driver's side on our motorhome, and then the opposite over here for the other arm. We can also plug in our wiring. And then your braking system, if it has any connections. We're using the Air Force One from Demco, so we do have an airline connection that we have to make. So that's kind of exclusive to the Air Force One here. Oops. And then we also have our breakaway cable, and pretty much all of your braking systems are going to have the breakaway cable. Now with everything connected, we can place our vehicle into flat tow mode and we're ready to hit the road. We'll begin our installation here underneath the vehicle. We're just going to go ahead and start on the passenger side. The things we do here on the passenger side are going to be basically mimicked over here on the driver's side. We're going to remove the tow hook that's located here in this position, and the bolts are going to be just around the other side of the bumper straight up here. We'll need an 18mm socket and wrench to get these removed. So one of the bolts is going to pass all the way through the frame and have a nut on the other side, and the other one's just going to be a bolt, which is over here on the other side. So we'll get this nut removed here first off the pass-through one. We're just using our 18mm socket. You may need to hold the other side to prevent it from spinning. After we remove the nut, the bolt may slide out of there. Yeah, it looks like it's nice and easy, so we'll pull that out. And then we'll remove the single bolt that's located over here on the other side. This one threads right into the tow hook, so there is no nut that we need to worry about. Go ahead and grab your tow hook too. I'm just holding it with one hand so that way it doesn't fall out of here and fall on my head or anything. After we pull that bolt out of there, our tow hook should slide out the front, and then we can just set that aside. You can remove the tow hook on the driver's side now if you want to, because again, we are mimicking these things over there on that side. We'll now take our passenger side for our base plate here and go ahead and insert it. It's not going to fit. I've already marked it out. You'll know this is the passenger side because of the little tang here. We want our sticker to be towards the top, our safety chain attachment towards the bottom, and this towards the inside. So it'll sit like this here, and when we go to try to insert it, it's too large. It's not going to just slide in there. So we're going to have to trim that out some. So I went ahead and marked the width of our base plate there. And then we're just going to take a razor knife here and just trim this on out. And we're going to do the same thing here on the bottom where we marked as well. All right, now we've got that trimmed, we're going to test our fit once again, see if we can't get it in there. We may or may not need to cut more out of the bottom here, but you can see it does have some flex to it. So if we can, we want to just try to flex it by it, because this piece here is going to be behind the bumper. You can see it's much thicker there. It's going to get thinner at the portion that's actually going to stick through. There we go. And we got that to slide in there. The other side's going to be very similar to get that to insert over there as well. Next, we're going to take the thickest bolts that come in our kit here. We're going to put some red Loctite on it, and this red Loctite's going to go on all the bolts that we're going to use to install our base plate. So everything that comes in your kit, make sure you're putting that red Loctite on there. After we have the Loctite on there, we're going to place a block washer and the large, thick flat washer that comes in your kit. This is going to go straight up into the bottom of the frame. There's already a large existing hole there, and this lines up with your base plate that we just slid in. There's a weld nut in the bottom of it. So just thread that in there. This only needs to be hand tight for now, so that's plenty fine. Next, we're going to take the long bolts that come in our kit. This is going to get one of these like dual plate washers here. It's got two holes in it. I want the little cutout to be towards the top, and then this will slide through. You might have to move this forward or backward, up or down a little bit to make it line up with your base plate hole. There we go. It's going to be a little stiff. Might even have to tap it through the other side. Okay. So I did thread it in just a little bit. Just like a 19 millimeter, knit it by hand just to verify that I lined up with the hole on the other side. And then you can drive it through the rest of the way if you need to with a hammer there. I just like to make sure you get the thread started before you hit it with a hammer. That way when you're driving it through, you're not damaging the threads as you're pushing it through. We're then just going to turn this until it's about level with the frame. And it's just going to hang out right there. And on the other side here, you can see where our bolt passed through. So on this side, we would place another one of these plate washers, a lock washer, and a nut. But our other bolt that we need to pass through only has a hole on this side over here. The other side, there is no hole, so we're going to have to drill that hole. So here you got an option. You can either use your plate washer that you put over here as a template and drill through the hole this direction, or since there is already a hole on this side, you can go through this direction and just go straight through and drill the hole out. It's up to you. This one's a little harder to get to. It's going to be more cramped, so this can be the more difficult side, but it does have a hole that's already aligning it for you, making that easy. This side, you have to make sure that your washer's level to be properly aligned, but you got a lot more room to drill. So that's up to you guys. You're going to take a 1/2 inch drill bit or a 17/32, which is slightly larger than 1/2 inch to drill that out. 17/32 will give you a little more leeway in case you're slightly off getting things to line up. Now we'll take our 17/32 drill bit and drill this out. Once you've got that drilled out, we can take our bolt. We're going to slide it from the inside towards the outside. We're then going to put another one of those double plate washers over our bolts on the other side here. And then we're going to follow those up with a lock washer and a nut onto each one of these. So we're back underneath now, and on the bottom of our base plate, you'll have this kind of ear here that sticks out with 2 holes in the bottom of it. That's where we're going to attach our other bracket. This is the other bracket that you get. You can see it's got the 2 holes in the bottom where it'll attach. If you notice, it's got this side brace on here. You get 2 of these in the kit, one for this side, one for the other side. We want the brace here to face towards the outside. They are side specific, so we want it to be like this here. So this is just going to sit up on top of here. Let's see if we can't go from this side. There we go, just like that. It's gonna sit just like this, and then we're gonna take our bolts here, slide them up through the bottom of our bracket. We're gonna place a lock washer on top of that, and then put a nut on top of that to secure it in place. We're then just going to put the same hardware in the smaller hole next to it there. And these are the smallest bolts that come in your kit. You have a total of 4 of them, 2 for this passenger side one and 2 for the driver's side one. It can be a little tricky to get your hands up in there. It's a little tight, but if you just kind of go slow, you should be okay. Sometimes it's easier to spin the bolt than the nut, just depending on the angle that your hands are up in there. All right, so we got that loosely installed now. You'll also get a square washer in your kit, and that's going to go right here. And then we have to drill out the hole that's located here. That's going to go through that bracket so we can clamp these pieces together. So in order to make sure that you line your hole up properly, it's about 2 inches up from the bottom edge, and I like to feel the other side of the hole too, just to get an idea of, you know, where it kind of feels like it is. But it should be about 2 inches up, so we're gonna mark it. Go up 2 inches from the bottom. And there's our mark there at 2 inches. All right, so now that we've got that marked, we're gonna take our washer and just kind of hold that back up there to make sure that it is centered, because the washer really can't move too much side to side up in this area. It can just a little bit, but that looks like that's going to be probably pretty good right there. to make our attachment. So now we're going to drill out our hole in this location here, going straight through to the other side. We're going to use that 17/32 bit that we had used before. All right, as we finished drilling it out there, lined it up with our hole pretty good, we're going to take our remaining bolts that we've got here. These are similar size thickness to the larger ones that we had passed through. So like I said, you could say they're the medium-sized ones that come in your kit. And they're pretty short. After you slide it through from the front towards the rear, put on that black square washer, and then follow that up with a lock washer and a nut. Now that we've got all the hardware loosely installed, we can go back and tighten down all of our bolts. We're going to use a 19mm socket and wrench for the bolts that pass through where our tow hooks used to be. It's also going to be the size for that last bolt that we installed. For our large bolt here, that goes straight up to the bottom, you'll use either a 24mm or a 15/16. They're both similar sizes. We're then going to switch to a 15mm for our smaller bolts that attach the two bracket pieces together. And you'll likely need to use a socket and a wrench in order to get on these. And then we can go back and torque all those to the specifications outlined in our instructions. Now that we've got all of our hardware torqued, we're going to do the same thing on the other side to get that one done as well, and that'll complete getting your base plate installed. This is how you want it when you're normally just driving your vehicle around. When you're ready to flat tow, you got one more piece here. This piece is designed to be removable. That way it minimizes how far things stick out the front here, because you don't want to be walking by this in your garage and bumping your leg. And when the arm's not inserted, it's pretty flush with the body. When we insert our arm, we can then connect any Roadmaster tow bar directly to this. We'll secure it with the included pin and clip that it comes with. Just clip that on there, and that'll prevent our arm from being removed. And again, any Roadmaster base plate will connect directly to this. But if you have another manufacturer's base plate, we do have adapters available here at etrailer, so you can connect those to these as well. And you can see there's locking mechanisms on here, right here, to ensure that your arms can't walk away from your vehicle. And that completes our installation of Roadmaster's base plate on our 2012 Chevrolet Silverado.